How are you guys doing? Everyone good? Great. Who enjoyed yesterday? Yes? It was a long day, wasn't it? Would it be fair to say we're exercising some thought muscles here? Yeah? But hopefully you're finding it worthwhile because there's a lot of content we're trying to pack in for you so that when you leave here, you leave, you're hitting the ground running. Who feels like, even though we've only covered 2 days worth of material so far, that if you left at this point, you could have a decent hypnotherapy practice, which is, going to look after you. Maybe you have to work a little bit at it. Yeah? Good. We're going to endeavor to continue to build on that premise. But before we do that, should we just kind of recap a little bit of where we've been through? Should we start the map from the beginning? So, of course, where's the starting point for all this? Yep. Right? We start with, there you go. We start in a land far, far away, wherever you live, right? I'm guessing we have no Bahamians here actually running this process. And what's the very first thing that has to happen? You've got to build a hut. So you consult with the business guru, make sure you have all your eggs in place, and there we go, the hut gets built. I recommend you follow along with this, guys, because the more you draw this map, the more ingrained it'll be, and the easier it'll be for you to get a concept of this. We have plenty of paper. If you need more paper, put your hand up, and one of us will run around. Is James in the room? Robin, could you maybe just grab some paper and bring them over here? There's some paper over there, and just bring them over to these folks here. So the more you draw this map, the more it'll ingrain the whole pattern for the whole business model we're going to be sharing with you guys. Put your hands up if you need paper. So once Johnny has his hut nicely built, what does the hut represent? Do more than 4 people know this answer? Thank you. What happens after the office? So he goes to the marshes, that's right, which there they are. And what do the marshes represent? Right. Give an example of something you do for market research, quickly. Mystery shopping. Tell me more about that.
Go and see some local hypnotherapists.
Beautiful. Become a customer of a local hypnotherapist. Just find out what is the experience that the average hypnotherapist offers. And of course, you can get one better, right? Beautiful. What happens after the marshes? The village. What does the village represent? The profile of the client. The whole point of doing a market research is not just to collect information. Information is useless. It's just a bunch of digit on your computer. You have to process that information to something practical. And the client profile, the empathy map that we've shared with you, is one of the simplest tools I've ever found to do that, to condense all that. Okay? So once you've got yourself a couple of client profiles and you decide, okay, I'm going to start focusing on this particular client over here. Where does Johnny go next? The farmer's market, exactly. And where are they? Here we go. What's the first thing you've got to do? What does the farmer's market represent?
Sources of places to do.
Venues you can do lecture demos on, correct. It's venues you can do lecture demos on. So before you can do a lecture demo in one of these venues, what has to happen? You've got to make a relation. You've got to open one of these venues up, talk to the owner, and have him invite you in to do the lecture demo, correct? So we'll have the next screen on this one. I think we have the handshake there, is that right? Okay. So what happens after you get the owner's agreement? You do your song and dance act, which is basically your lecture demo, correct? Someone give me an example of something you can demonstrate, or something you can do with the group, or a gift you can give to the group to take home with them afterwards during your lecture demo. Someone quickly? Self-relaxation hypnosis. Like it. So one clear one, which was arm catalepsy. You can have someone come out, arm gets stiff, they can't move, and they go, oh my God, this is amazing, you're a genius, can I come and work with you? You go, yes you can, right? What happens to Johnny after he's done his first lecture demo? He realizes he needs the road, which is some infrastructure to build relationships, right? This is, as we have now come to know, the relationship road. Follow the relationship road. Follow the relationship road. So what happens next? What's Johnny's next lesson? Say again? The velvet rope. Do you put the velvet rope up? What does the velvet rope represent? Your autoresponder. And, of course, we have that little table of gifts in the corner. Because the easiest way to persuade someone or give them a reason to give you their email, to go into your autoresponder, to build that relationship as automatically and simply as possible is to ethically bribe them. Here's a free gift. Here's something you'll enjoy. You get their email, they get a gift, everyone's happy. And your relationship road now runs on autopilot. It's more like a, what are those conveyor belts in airports called, where you get on and they just like take you across the thing? Traveling what? Or moving?
Moving sidewalk.
A moving sidewalk, right? You turned your relationship road into a moving sidewalk as soon as the velvet rope and the table of gifts come in, haven't you? Right? A little bit advanced for the medieval times, isn't it? We probably have a donkey at the end and a really long, carpet and they're just going around. If I had thought of this, I would actually draw it into the map. That would have been hysterical. Exactly. We may have to do an updated map for you later, right? All right, so what happens? He's doing this whole process, and you know that at this point, you have a solid business working for you, do you not? You're doing decently. You can feed your family, you can feed yourself, but you're working hard. You're working pretty much all hours God sends you, because it takes a lot of effort to travel the relationship road, do your lecture demos, go back, do the work. There's a lot of effort involved, but it's worthwhile effort. Wouldn't you agree? Now, as a real recap, remember that this is the fastest way to get cash. It's not the only way, and it's not the best way, but it's the fastest and the cheapest way to get cash. And without cash, your business dies, right? Hence, we start with this, because whilst you're putting this in place, you can then start building the other relationships, which may take a little longer time, and you're still making money as a business. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah? So what happens once he's traveling this road a few times? Johnny has another idea, doesn't he? What is that? What does he discover? The princes, exactly. Now, this time, of course, what do the princes represent? Referral partners, right? Referral partners, as you've already seen and as you'll come to experience in the gameplay later, is hands down the easiest way to get so many clients that you don't know what to do with them, right? Because Johnny is smart, he's going to build the roads and the velvet rope. Well, he's going to build the relationship first and then the roads and velvet rope. So he's learned his lesson from doing the lecture demos, and all the infrastructure that he's built for those lecture demos now gets diverted towards the referral partners. It's already there for them. So he just has to have the same kind of conversations with them and get them excited and so on, right? Does that make sense to everyone? And you've seen the exponential growth in terms of your income that a referral partner can give you, a right referral partner. Some referral partners send you one person a year. It's okay. The right referral partner will send you hundreds, maybe even thousands of clients in a year, depending on the person, right? So does anyone remember what happens next in the whole journey here? Does anyone remember? The King's Highway, exactly. Oh, no, actually, we have some infrastructure stuff. Yeah, you can skip through that. We'll talk about that tomorrow. There's some more infrastructure stuff. Just carry on. There we go. There we go. I wonder what all these things mean. Don't you? There we go. Some people are getting some interesting ideas. So here's the King's Highway. What do you think the King's Highway represents? The internet? Almost there. Social media? You're getting close? Say that again, Jess. Advertising. Anywhere you can advertise will be the King's Road. That could be on the internet, it could be in a newspaper, it can be a magazine, it can be in your local off-license or liquor store, I think you call it in America. It can be in your, it can be anywhere. Wherever you can put a little shingle up, like this one, which will happen as soon as Joe presses the magic button. Look, wonderful shingles with dragons who stop smoking. Did you spot that one? There you go. It's all markers, that one. I like that. So, anywhere you can put an advert is represented by the King's Highway. You will pay for those adverts, but the potential client base that can come out of it is actually can be very decent. Now, advertising is a very interesting thing. Joe will share with you the whole principles in a moment's time. But in terms of the overall picture, the people that come to you from advertising are totally different to the people that come to you from everything else you've done so far, the lecture demo and the referral partners. From a lecture demo and a referral partner, they're pretty warm clients already. If you don't elect a demo, they'll like you, they'll know you, they'll trust you as an individual, and the relationship can be built from there. If they come from a referral partner, that's again a very strong lead because you've borrowed the trust that they have, the faith that they have in that referral partner, in that prince. That makes sense, right? When you put an advert up, the nature of the relationship is much more fragile. Much more fragile. So you need to build the relationship much more solidly. Now, the same campaign that you may have used for the others may well work here as well. You just have to decide at the end of it, are you going to add another campaign before you go for the big thing? Are you going to introduce them slowly? Are you going to introduce them quickly? You'll have to do some experiments here. The beauty of advertising is that if you do it well, you can get a lot of people. However, your conversion ratio from advertising will be much lower than from, say, a referral partner. Referral partners are hands down the highest conversion rates in terms of what I can think of doing at this point. I don't know if you disagree there.
Completely agree.
I thought you would. So you get the idea of the whole map here. We haven't got the middle bit, we haven't entirely looked at in detail yet. That'll come tomorrow. But you really have the whole system in place. So would you guys be interested in finding out how to master traveling on the King's Highway? Would that be interesting to you guys? Yeah. Because I warn you, there's a few highway robbers on these roads, and you want to be able to identify them before they come and get you, right? Joe, do you want to take them through this?
Yep. So how you guys feeling this morning? Good? Yeah. All right. Good. So I want to talk to you this morning about the role of advertising. And I'm going to talk to you about different types of advertising to begin with, okay? So let me have a blue pen here. All these different types of advertising I'm going to show you work at different levels for different types of businesses. None of these is going to be wrong, but some of them will be wrong for you. Get that? All right, so let's start out first where I look at advertising as a process. Remember, Igor said that when you're advertising, the relationship is a bit more fragile than if you have a face-to-face interaction or a referral partner, somebody sending you and giving you their credibility. When you're sending out an ad, we get bombarded with ads all the time, right? You guys probably ignore most of the ads that you see. Well, the most common type of advertising you'll probably see out there, because they're from large companies, is where an ad sort of leads to nothing. And these are what I would call branding ads. These are the ads you see for really large companies like Coca-Cola, where they say, you know, oh, drink a Coke, you'll feel great. We're like, oh, wow, that was nice. Thank you. They're ambiguous, and for a small business, by and large, they really don't work that well. An ad at this level is playing on numbers. When someone like, or a company like Coca-Cola has millions and millions of, and possibly even billions, possibly, of customers around the world, they'll need a small, tiny fraction of a % of increase in sales from an ad. Those ads work really well for a really large company, right? A different type of ad that's really great for people is where an ad goes to a direct sale. Now, this in the industry is called direct response advertising. And direct response advertising works really, really well. These are the types of things you see on television, like infomercials, right? I think that's a funny name for, just basically an extended commercial, right? And you see someone pitching a product and they say, go here to buy that now. And the reason that those are so effective is because they begin to build a bit of a relationship there, right? They do it over video or in many different types of ways, like sending out letters, and you may get circulars, that's what they're called, circulars that come through the mail to your house and it says, you know, hey, this is your local shopping market. We have stuff on sale. Buy it now. Direct response works so well because it starts to build a relationship. Would you guys like to know what the next level of advertising would be? Yeah? And this one's even more effective. And I call this an ad, then to a direct campaign. And we've talked to you guys a little bit before about campaigns and how a campaign can go little by little and start to build a relationship. And as you build a relationship, then you can start to provide some value and then ask for value in return. Provide some more value, ask for some more value. But in the beginning, an ad points you there. It doesn't necessarily point you directly to a sale or to nothing, just sort of to make you feel good. We're starting to get into more relationship building, as you can see as we go down the list, right? Good. So the best way to advertise. Would you guys like to know that? Yep. All right. So the best way to advertise is not with an ad necessarily, but when you have a list. We've talked about this before, and I don't think I'll be able to emphasize it enough in the next 3 days. Your list is your business. And the most effective way to advertise is when you have someone on your list and you send them a campaign. And there's probably an intermediate step in here. You could send from your list to directly to asking for a sale. But again, we want to build a relationship. And the reason I didn't add it in here is because I don't want you to do one-off offers to people. I want you to build a relationship, even though you've already built one on your list. I want you to keep campaigning. So I don't want you to market to somebody. I want you to what? Campaign, or build a relationship, right? So not marketing, campaigning. Thank you.
Are there more than 4 people who get that
Yeah.
point? Let's try that again. What are you going to do with this? Exactly. You're going to build a relationship with a campaign, right?
All right, so let's go over some classic mistakes that a lot of people, especially hypnotherapists when they're starting out, make. So I have a few examples here, and you guys have probably seen these. So the first type of mistake that I commonly see, especially with hypnotherapists, I'm not sure why, but I'm sure you guys will recognize this one. I call this the address ad, where you see, hi, this is, you see an ad that says, Happy Clappy Hypnotherapy Clinic, and we're here. That's it. Thanks. How do you guys feel about that? Ambiguous, right? There's not much to do with that. It's sort of, we're up here, and the ad going to kind of nothing, right? Another common type of ad that you'll see is a shopping list ad, and I've got a nice slide of that one over here. As soon as I get through the map. There we are. Aha. So this is a shopping list of stuff, right? You can see, private and confidential, during hypnosis you regain control, improve skills, obtain goals, addictions, anxiety, pain, phobias. This is a huge shopping list of stuff, right? Now, I know that for most of you as hypnotherapists or coaches, you have a ton of skills, right? It doesn't mean you don't practice those skills. It just means you don't advertise this way. What does this ad really feel like to you guys, right? Cluttered, overwhelming? Overwhelming is, right, confusing and overwhelming, right? Do you want your customers to be confused and overwhelmed the first time they come in contact with you? That's what an ad like this does.
There's an example I like to give on this sort of thing, which is, Imagine that a terrible crime gets committed in your city by someone who looks a little bit like you, and the police decide it's you. They arrest you, they whack you in jail, and you think, this is not fair. So, of course, what's the first thing you do? Is you want to call a lawyer, don't you? The only problem is you don't have one. So a friend brings you a local paper with the advertisement in it, and there's 2 adverts in it. The first one says, we're the great lawyers, we do probate and family and trusts and contract and a little bit of criminal and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's a huge list, just like that. The other ad is very simple. So-and-so law firm, are you innocent? We'll keep you out of jail. Call now. Who do you call? Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
And this is really the thing. The reason people write those ads is because they're stuck in something called scarcity thinking. They are afraid they might miss out on a client. Because they get such few clients, they're going to basically shoot the shotgun out and hope someone gets hit, right? When you start going for a niche, which of course makes you rich, that's right.
Let's do that again.
A niche makes you
rich. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
When you're willing to target down to that niche, you're speaking to someone directly, and they'll go, that's it, that's what I've been looking for. Yes, your pool of people will be smaller. However, the gun you're shooting will be bigger. So the chances of actually taking down the elephant is a lot higher. Do you see where I'm going with this? So it is very tempting, and right now you're all smiling, going, yeah, this makes sense, and so on. And as soon as you have to spend money on an advert, which won't come until you've actually made some money with the other stuff and it's all taking over nicely, we'll talk more about the strategy of when you move from one thing to the next later, you will be tempted to put the shopping list in just in case, because you're spending money on this and you don't want to waste any penny that you put out there. And this will be a waste. Because just like you felt overloaded, your client will feel overloaded, and the next advert that says, are you in pain? We have a solution. That's the one that's going to get called. Do you see where we're going with this? Please, sorry.
Thank you. So the next type of ad that you see pretty commonly is the no information ad. And while this one's kind of a joke, right? I love that joke. It sells nothing, right? There's really no info there for me to be able to take any action on, right? I can't figure out what to do with this, besides laugh, of course, in this example. However, it is an important point I want to impress upon you, that if you don't have any real info in your ad about what you do and the things you offer, this is sort of the opposite of the shopping list ad, right? The shopping list ad was, we do blah, everything. This is, we're here. Contact us. Maybe that would have numbers on the bottom there. The flyer ads. I don't even see those work well as flyers at colleges. You see the numbers ripped off, but I think it's probably, the guy who puts it up rips off a few numbers so it looks popular.
Or because people need to put their gum somewhere.
Or yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, thanks. That's a good one. Another fun ad that you'll waste your money on is one that I would call the corporate speak ad. And this is an ad that makes you sound like you're this stodgy, huge corporation, and we are the corporate hypnotherapy clinic. Call us to eliminate your pain needs today, right? It just sounds really awkward, right? You don't talk like that to a friend. And in our business, in our field, our customers, our clients are trusting us with the most intimate parts of themselves. Why would you talk to them like you're some big corporation that you can hide behind? Oftentimes, it's just you. Tell them, hey, this is Joe. I'm here for you. I'm helping you to get out of pain, to lose some weight, to look like you want to look, right? What's going to sell more? What's going to have people connect with you and build a relationship with you more? I can help you with your pain needs, or I can help you get out of pain, right? It's simple. You can feel that, can't you? So again, when you're out there and you're starting to pay for some ads, you're going to be tempted because you want to look bigger so that you can position yourself in the market like, oh, you know, we're really successful. And that will come up. And you'll think, oh, you know, I need to, you know, put out a professional image. I would say resist and put out a personal image so that the people you're connecting with will feel connected to you. The other fun one that I tell my clients to stop doing all the time is to stop selling hypnosis. Dear God, please stop selling hypnosis services. Please stop. Don't sell me hypnosis anymore. I'm tired of it. Sell me stress relief, weight loss, stop smoking, whatever your service is. Give me the benefits. Sell me the benefits, but don't sell me hypnosis.
Does anyone here have any ideas why Joe's saying that? Can we have a microphone here, please?
A couple of things. I would think the first is that so few people actually have an idea what hypnosis is.
Exactly.
And then, I mean, who cares what tool you use to build a house? I just want a nice house.
Beautiful. That's about as perfect a metaphor as I can get for that. When you're in pain, you do not care how you're going to get out of that pain. You just want the pain to stop, right?
Yep.
When you say, I'm a hypnotist, it is a very powerful phrase, especially when you're talking to people. The problem is, you're expecting them to connect the dots. I'm a hypnotist, you're in pain, therefore you need to come to me to resolve that pain. They've got to go through a lot of thought loops to come to that conclusion. You need to spell it out for them. By all means, have the word hypnosis in your advert. It actually it's helpful and you should be having that. Mm-hmm. However, as Joe was saying, you don't say, I'm a hypnotist, I can help you. How? For what? Yeah. Right? You say, I'm a pain control hypnotist. Are you in pain? I can help you. Now the dots have been connected. They don't have to do the thinking for you because they don't understand the industry. As Brian said, and I think it's a wonderful metaphor, they want the house. Say, I can build a house, and by the way, I've still got some cool tools for that. But you don't need to know about that. You just will have the house of your dreams at the end of this. Does it make sense to everyone? Because, and just to have a little further rant, the reason people talk about I'm a hypnotist and so on is, do you guys love hypnosis? Yes? I doubt you would be here if you didn't. And you expect your clients to love it just as much as you, but they will not. Because that's why they're not hypnotists. Some of them will do. But you're a hypnotist because you loved it enough to learn the skill. Most people are curious about it, maybe fascinated by it, but they don't really know what it is. So you can't expect them to have the same love for the field as you do. For most of you guys, if someone says, hypnosis training, you go, great, tell me more, right? So you must be able to understand what the client is going to read from their perspective rather than from your perspective. Do you understand what I mean by that? Yeah? Thank you.
And to that point as well, you guys are all interested in hypnosis, and you know a lot about it, but let's say I come up with a new technique, and I say, you know, this is the, you know, so-and-so protocol. Do you care? You know? But what if I say, this is the so-and-so protocol that would get you 10 more clients a week? Do you care more? Good. Well, let's go into the next ad that I really hate. The no call to action. So you'll see an ad that says, hi, this is to steal Igor's title for a hypnotherapy clinic, the Happy Clappy Hypnotherapy Clinic. We can help you get out of pain. And that's it. And your customers are asking, well, how? What do I do? How do I get that? You know, you've excited me. I can get out of pain. Great. Yes.
Just to add to this, even if you have your phone number on the bottom, you are still expecting them to connect the dots. I can help you out of pain, phone number. There is nothing that says, call me to find out how. Call me to make an appointment. Call me for a free report. That little sentence, although it seems like a no-brainer to us, will lose your clients because what that is a lack of a bridge. And as you've already noticed, as soon as the bridge is out of the way, people are afraid of getting wet and they will not cross. So any hurdle you put in place especially in your advertising, will lose you a percentage of people. The more hurdles you have, the more that percentage gets whittled down until eventually you just have an old granny who calls you because she's lonely, right? It does happen, actually.
It
really does happen.
It does. So, again, we don't want to market, we want to campaign, right? Let's have more than 4 people say that. We don't want to market, we want to campaign. Oh, good. So, you guys have seen some bad stuff out there that happens all the time. Would you guys like a nice, simple framework for how you can start this first step of the process? Because we're always going to campaigns. I'd prefer you're on your list, but this is where we're going to be focused today. Would you guys like a simple process that you can start for here that's going to give you effective ads that are going to get people excited and calling you and starting to get into that campaign? Yep. You sure? All right. Let me just this. All right, so what's the first thing you do when you write an email? Write in a subject. So for an ad, what we want right up front to grab their attention is going to be a strong headline, right? So when I say a strong headline, what do you guys think I might mean? Anyone? Attention grabbing, right? Anybody else? Uses power words. That's a great suggestion. Anyone else?
Curiosity.
It sparks your curiosity. Yes. You guys are all right. Back there you had?
It's short.
It's short. That's also a good thing. People don't have forever to read, a long headline, right? You don't put a subject that is a mile long so people have to go, what is this? Everything else. So that's step 1, a strong headline. Step 2, we were talking about not selling hypnosis, right? So what do you guys think we should sell? The benefits, the features, right? And I would actually prefer the benefits over the features. The features are the tools that you use to build the house, right? The benefit is the house. The benefit is, and then the benefit of the benefit, so the benefit of that house would be you feel fantastic being in that house, right? So in order to do that, I'm just going to use some shorthand bullets, right? Bullet points of these are the benefits that you're going to get. So that's our second one.
Just one of the bullet points. A simple way of thinking about bullet points is if you had a checklist, let's say you could build the life of your dreams, and you had a checklist of all the things, all the results you would see, people would be throwing money at you, there'd be sunshine all day long, the road would be carpeted in roses for you, that kind of simple lifestyle, right? That checklist is a series of bullet points. And what people are looking for in their life is, what are the results? What is this going to tick off on my list of things that I need? So they're not going to look for, oh, I've got hypnosis, and oh, I've got a hammer and I've got a nail. They're going to say, I have a house, I have a bed, I have a kitchen, I have a sink, right? And then the next step, which I think is really brilliant in terms of what Joe's talking about there, is they don't really want the house, or the bed, or the sink, and all that sort of stuff. What they want is how they will feel as a result of having that. They'll feel safe, they'll feel secure, they won't feel wet, those sort of things, right? So when someone's in pain, what they're looking for is pain relief. And the benefit behind that, the result of the result, which I think is a great way of thinking about it, is you will feel free and joy now that you no longer have the pain. Do you see how that whole thing works out? It's a very powerful way to speak to people who are stuck inside a problem.
So the next part of a really great ad is going to be what you offer. As soon as you have given them a really nice, strong headline, so you've grabbed their attention, then you've given them some really great benefits. You're going to feel fantastic. Now it's time to offer them something. And when you offer people something, what ways work on you guys? Anybody have any ideas? Freebies, that's a good one. Samples, that's another good one.
A lot of times, just the ease of being able to purchase something like a mail-in rebate. I skip those automatically because it's such a pain in the butt.
Ease of the offer, ease of getting into our list before into that campaign. That's another good one.
Time limit.
A time limit, that's another good one, and we'll talk about that in just a second.
Complete package.
A complete package, that's actually a nice offer. Yes.
Clarity.
Clarity. Yes, I'm looking for clarity in my offer. Yep.
Like a refund or a guarantee or something?
Refunds and guarantees, and we will talk about that in just a second. Bonuses, yes, I love bonuses, right? So these are all really great ways and ideas that we can use to build into an offer. Next, because everyone forgets this, I think this is still the most important point of an ad. What do you guys think that might be? Yes? Yep, a bunch of people got in the room. A call to action, right? No one's going to take you up on your offer until you tell them, do it now. And that is the magic word. So, now is the word of power there. Not later today, not next week, now. People do not take action 2 minutes from now. They take action right now. You know, without getting too metaphysical, you know, the only time you have is right now, right? So you want people taking you up on your offer right now, as soon as they see that ad, so they can take action and start to get into that direct campaign so you can start to build a relationship with them, right? You had a question?
A little stuck here because in my mind, when you're thinking about an ad, you need to know who your target audience is. And so even when you're writing an email, the first thing is who are you writing the email to, not the subject particularly. So I'm just wondering why you're not actually starting with a client profile before you go through these steps.
So in this case, we are assuming that we are. We have a good client profile already, so we know these people well enough that we can market to them effectively with a solid headline and everything else that goes with it. Do you have something to add?
Sure. Just bear in mind in terms of the context of when we're putting this ad. You do not start your business with an advert. Remember, you start your business with your lecture demos. It builds into referral partners. Very often your lecture demos will bring out these great referral partners. So you already have this great business building around you. You have a lot of experience. You understand your clientele really well because you've really explored your niche. You've become an expert in that niche, you know, by default. So when you read the adverts are still about the same niche you've been learning about probably for a year or so at this point, or maybe 6 months or so. So this advert will directly speak to the niche you're already in. You're not going to start an advert for a new niche. Does that kind of help? So hence we're assuming that we're in that particular stream. If you're in a business already and you know thinking about advertising at this point and so on, then absolutely, you want to decide on your niche first and get the client profile first, and maybe do some experiments by like talking to those people and polishing your profile, because the more polished your profile is, then you will know what advert what headline to use in the ad. Because how would you know what headline to use? Because you've got to speak to their needs, right? So you're absolutely 100% correct, and it's kind of built into the system here. So by the time you get to advertising, you've already got a lot of experience, which means your adverts aren't going to be a hope and pray advert, which most people have. It's going to be a very targeted advert, speaking specifically to a certain type of person. If everyone else skips it by, it's perfect, because you want that person. Does that help?
Any question over here? Sure.
Thank you. I think in terms of targeting the perfect or the ideal niche, that could be completely 100% dealt with by deciding on the publication you want to go into. So, for example, if you're going into a kind of broad newspaper journal where anybody and everybody could read it, then it's going to be ambiguous if you don't have some words in that headline or body copy which will allow my 35-year-old professional golf player to actually pick up on the fact that this ad's for me.
Right.
But if you add
So let me
in
just pause you
Golfers
for a second.
Monthly,
Right.
which is pitched at
Yeah.
wealthy golf club owners, you don't need to bring that out in the body copy, right?
Yep. And you're 10 minutes ahead of us. So
That's great.
we're about to come on to, yeah, you're living in the future. How is it there?
It's fantastic.
All right,
The coffee
good.
break was wonderful.
Don't worry, in 10 minutes' time, you can come up here and teach the rest of it.
So we're going to talk about the different types of places you can place your ad.
May I just ask one more question?
Sure.
In your experience, would you say it's better to pitch an ad, given that the response rate is quite low, for example, for a direct sale, to actually pitch it so that the purpose of the ad is to build a list
Yeah.
and to get emails?
Yep.
In fact, that is the main thing we recommend that you do.
Right.
The absolute main thing. Just to translate some of the stuff that Joe was talking about earlier, most hypnotherapists have terrible ads. The ones that have good adverts, in other words, have all these things we're talking about here in the next step as well, which we haven't covered yet in them, they're trying to sell your hypnotherapy service. So they'll be like those lawyers say, are you in jail? We'll get you out. Call now, right? What we're proposing is to go from that direct response ad, which is it's a very useful ad. It works very well. It's proven, it's tested, it works great. To take the next step, which is the direct campaign ad, which is to say, do you have this problem? Take this free report, or get a free video, or get a free CD, or whatever to explain what you need to do. And then that gets into your system, and now they're on your list, and now you can do your list campaigns, just like you was talking about. Your actual hypnotherapy session will not be offered until either the end of that campaign, or possibly even 2 or 3 campaigns down the road, after they've been a client of other things, they've bought other things of you first to test you out, because each time they test you out and pay some money, the chances that they'll take you up on a bigger and more expensive offer increases. So absolutely, we recommend that strategy, and we'll unpack the full strategy as we go on. Right now, we're just looking at the actual advert itself, okay? Can we pass the microphone backwards? Oh, then this lady over here.
Thank you. In some ways, that's kind of like the yes set.
That's exactly what it
It's
is.
like the yes set.
It's a yes set spread over time and done with emails, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great.
Beautiful.
So would you guys like the last step, and then I can show you some good examples of ads? All right. So we've already given them a strong headline. We've got their attention. We've enticed them, sold them a nice dream here with the bullets in the offer, and we've said, call me now. Call me now. We don't have any contact details yet, right? So that's our last step. Number 5 here is your contact details. And while, that ad is funny, it makes pretty much all of these mistakes, right? You might catch your attention with Lionel Richie's face there, but the rest of it doesn't really do much for you, right? So now we have a nice, simple, complete system for writing an ad. Step 1, strong headline. Step 2, bullets. 3, offer, call to action, and then contact details. Easy enough, right? So let me show you guys some examples. I went searching in my local area, and I also found this really classic one. This one is an ad that ran in the Chicago Tribune. It may still run, I'm not sure, but it ran a long time ago, and I got this from a hypnotist friend of mine. So as you can see, huge headline, right? And one of the genius things about this advertisement is that it's actually written in the same font as news. So people don't just scan right by and they go, oh, that's an ad. And it's got a big headline, right? Big headlines mean big news in a newspaper. So that's, again, to your point of playing into the type of publication that you're putting an ad into, and sort of playing with the rules that they have with their type of advertising. So we have a really nice headline here: lose 20, 30, 40 pounds or more with hypnosis. Put yourself in the mindset of somebody who's trying to lose some weight. 20, 30, 40 pounds sounds really great. It sounds, on the 40-pound area, it might sound a little bit too much, but that 20, 30, 40 is sort of like a little yes set that goes, oh, well, if I could lose 20, maybe I could lose 10 more. And 10 more after that. It'd be really great. And then it's easy, even if you love eating. Takes care of a bullet. It's like, it takes care of like, oh, well, I'm not sure if I could do that, but it's easy. Even if I love eating? Wow. And unfortunately, I don't have the rest of the article, but it does go into a really nice offer and has a call to action that says, call us right away. And this one is more of an example of a direct call to action or
Direct response.
direct response. Thank you. And that ad did very, very well for that hypnotist. They were sold out months in advance, and it was very easy for them to do that. Would you guys like another example? So this one I found in my local area, and I've blacked out the name so I don't give him some free advertising myself. And like his name, like with the blank method there is his actual name. And this is a really great ad because it's got all the principles with it again. I can clearly see a really nice headline. I can see a nice call to action. I've given some really nice information there about where I can find this stuff. And this guy does weight loss hypnosis as a seminar. And it's I think it's just a 3-hour, almost 3-hour seminar that he does every few days. He breezes into town, puts an ad up, gets a whole bunch of people into a seminar room very similar to this, hypnotizes people, and helps them lose some weight. And we can talk about pricing strategies and stuff later, but for $50, if he's saying at the bottom, close there, it says lose 30 pounds, 50 pounds, even 120 pounds quickly and safely, I'd be willing to try it for $50, wouldn't you?
And remember, these samples will all be in your resource guide when you get them. So we're just showing them to you now so you can get a sense of what they look like when we talk about them. But you'll be able to study them at length when you get home. And I strongly recommend, even though it's a big resource guide, this is not something you just, you read through like a manual. It's something that you'll pick and choose, you go through, you might print off one page because you'll need it, then it'll become as a PDF so you can dip into it as often as you want and have as many examples of whatever things you need as you want to. Then you can dip into it, then you can put it away again, then you can search through it and read a bigger section. So it's really designed to be a support for probably the first 2 or 3 years of your build-up as a hypnotherapy practice. After that, of course, you'll have grown beyond the resource guide and there'll be more advanced stuff you might want to look into. But everything we've got up here, you will have at home as well, just so you realize you don't have to start taking photos and stuff like that. You can if you want to, of course.
Yeah.
But it'll be there for you.
CD-ROM, or is that printed paper?
It'll be a PDF you can download. So it's the quickest way for you to get it, basically. And we're making a few minor adjustments to it still because in the evenings we're constantly coming up with extra stuff we want to put into it. So we figured the best thing to do is to send it to you after the seminar, because then everything we've actually given you will be in there too, rather than putting the things we thought about ahead of time, rather than and exclude all those things that we came up with whilst we're here, which would be really cool for you to have as well, right? So once you head home, Megan will email you all the link, and you'll just download it. You'll have everything that's here and a lot more, okay?
Yeah. So would you guys like a couple examples of the resources that we'll have for you? We wrote some example advertisements that follow this nice formula. All right, so here's an example ad. This one is about weight loss.
Just to give you a little bit of introduction to what these are, again, in your resource guide, we've actually hired and paid for a copywriter to write you a whole bunch of sample classified ads in the top 10 categories of that in hypnosis, things like weight loss, stop smoking, performance enhancement, and so on. And it's giving you 3 different sample ads that you can just plug and play if you wanted to, although I strongly recommend that you adapt it for your own personality and so on. So you have lots and lots of examples. I mean, this ends up being 30 examples of adverts over 10 different niches, or niches, depending which side of the Atlantic you're in, which will be in your resource guide. Again, just to demonstrate how few words, how simply you can activate these 5 points in an advert. Really, it's really straightforward once you can, once you know what you're looking for. And Joe's about to walk you through how to do that.
So this is an example of one you can find in your resource guide. And I just picked out a weight loss one because it's easy and a lot of people do that. So free report reveals the automatic and rapid way to make you crave exercise even if you currently hate any kind of physical activity. For full information, go to in your URL or your phone number, or for full information, call us at X, right? So again, like we said, you have to adapt this to your business, to your personality. But if you saw that, and remember, get in the mindset of somebody that has a weight control problem, they want to lose some weight, would that make you possibly interested? Maybe be able to get a free report? And again, with most of these things, we're doing a direct campaign. So we're building a relationship. This does not mean we ask for a sale right away. We're asking them to get into a relationship with us, to download a free report, to give us a phone call, to get into our marketing funnel, which we'll talk about later, and become our friend. Because remember, our clients are trusting us with very intimate parts of their lives. And they need little baby steps, right? Those yes sets of, yes, I got that and I trust you. Yes, I got a little bit more and I trust you more now. Yes, I got you a little bit more and I trust you more now. Now I'll start to pay you some real money and actually use you as a professional for the problems that I have. You had a question?
Any tips for contact details? Do you make them just as big as the headline, font size, color, any details like the tips?
It depends. So the
just
question,
ask-
yeah,
okay.
the question was any tips for font sizes and different stuff like you can play with, like do you want to make your contact information bigger or smaller, things like that. My only answer to that is test. It's going to depend on the place that you're advertising in. So possibly like a really big headline like I had before in the newspaper might be really great for you with small contact details. And in my own personal experience, putting contact details at a relatively same size as the rest of the body copy is good enough. I have tested it with bigger, and it just seemed to really feel like an ad to people. It was kind of my feeling. Just kind of looking at it was like, oh, there's a huge number there. Like I can tell they want me to call them. So I would just say test. Yeah. So you guys like another example? Oh, you had a question real quick?
Would you put there as contact information your website for them to write their email?
In this case, in
So
this
can you
example,
repeat the question again?
So the question was, would you put your website for the contact information in this particular ad?
For them to put their email?
Oh, for them to put their email. So the question was,
How do you get there? Because the purpose is to get a list.
Okay, so,
Right.
to answer, so the question was very simply, what do you put at the bottom in terms of the contact details to be able to get their email so you can put them on your list and start the campaign rolling, right?
Yep. And I like the way you're thinking there. I would simply just put my website, and in many cases I would put like a website plus, like Happy Clappy Hypnotherapy Clinic / weight loss or / free report. And then it would be a page that's dedicated, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the strategy session, dedicated to this particular ad. So that I can do all sorts of nice stuff like tracking and give them only one thing to do.
As part of your resource guide, we've actually, again, paid for designers to design 3 different website templates, and we've had a IT guy stick it into the whole WordPress sort of format. So all you need, if you know a little bit of computing, you can put it up straight away, or you can get a simple techie guy to put it up there for 50 or 100 bucks or so. It'll take them 20 minutes to put up for you. And part of that is what's called a squeeze page, which is specifically designed purely and simply to collect emails. And then the idea is the campaign's very simple. The advert has the website details only for that squeeze page. They come to the squeeze page, a little bit of wording to make them want to put their email in. They put their email in, and then your whole campaign starts working off the back end. So we've sorted out the whole machine for you. You'll have to basically install a machine, like plugging in the fridge. But it's ready for you. Does it mean you're stuck with that? No. You can put a phone number in and have a personal assistant answer it. You can answer it yourself. You can have all kinds of other things. You can maybe write stuff in, like a coupon or whatever. But we've made the simplest, easiest choices for you already. So you can just run the system with as little additional thought as possible. And when you get to that point, you can grow beyond that. So what Joe's talking about is all the possibilities, and then we'll condense them down for you, so when you start, it's easy and simple for you guys.
And
Okay, guys?
to that point as well, remember that this comes a little bit later in your hypnotherapy practice. Especially if you're just beginning, we recommend that advertising comes when you've got enough cash flow to be able to afford, to be able to spend some time, not just necessarily spend money on the advertisements, but spend some time really investigating how to do this well for yourself, for your market.
Absolutely.
And we're starting to get into more and more advanced strategies. So if you're not comfortable with spending the time or spending the money on these advertisements just yet, you can wait a little while. We've got
It's
everything
much better to
else.
focus on your lecture demos and your princes. That's going to get you the strongest results. This is icing on the cake stuff. This can work great.
Yep.
It'll fill your list up with people, but you'll have to work those people more. So we're giving you places to grow into. Some of you will be ready for this straight away. Some of you won't be ready for this for maybe some years. It doesn't matter. You have strategies for each level of development to get you to that six-figure income, if that's the choice that you want to make, and you're willing to work for that, because you do have to work and adapt things to get there, right?
You had a question back there?
Okay, if I've got a print ad that says visit my website, that means that anyone that sees that print ad that doesn't have a computer is not going to be my client.
Yep.
Do you no longer deal with people who don't have computers? I have a lot of, clients.
That's part of your USP. When you do your client empathy map, what do they see, what they looked at, what they spend their time on, what do they do? If it's not computers, you know that you'll need a different approach. So everything we talk about campaign still works. It's just you cannot use emails anymore. They don't have a computer, right? So now you have to maybe send postcards or letters. It's more expensive, a little more tedious. There are companies that will do that for you, but then the expense goes up again a little bit. You adapt to the clientele that you want to serve. Does that make sense to you guys? So does that answer your question there?
I just don't want to lose. I
No,
mean,
no, I
there's going to
understand.
be a lot of people who see that print ad that won't have a computer, and
Absolutely.
I don't want them to say, that person doesn't want to see me because...
Absolutely. Now, what you're discovering, the emotion you're having right now, is what we just talked about earlier on with the shopping list advert. Remember? We said you'll want to put all these things in because you might lose some people. You will absolutely lose some people. That's the whole point of concentrating down on a niche or a niche in what you're doing. Does that mean you can't serve the other people? Not at all. You'll just put a different advert in for those people and a different contact method once you've built up enough time and enough machinery around you that you can run two niches simultaneously. Joe, you run about 3 niches right now, is that right?
Yep.
So he has 3 different niches, 3 different types of clients he's serving. Each one will be advertised for differently. Each one will have a different set of campaigns.
Yep.
It complicates matters, absolutely. But he can serve them all. So can you. It's just you have to decide where will your initial efforts be, and then once you have that whole system automated enough, then you have free time and energy to put into building a second niche or a second niche, and then that becomes more automated, and a third and a fourth and so on. So you will always lose customers. You will always use clients when you niche. That's the whole point of it, because you can't serve everyone. Remember, did we tell the story about the donkey? Did we do the donkey?
Tell the donkey story.
Should we talk about the donkey?
Tell us.
This is not my story. This actually comes from one of our trainers called Randy. This is a great story. There's an old man who goes in town with his grandson, and they have a donkey they're taking to the market. And so they're walking down the road. Grandpa holding the donkey and holding the little boy's hand, and some people passing them coming out of the village, and they look at them and say, "Old man, that's just." You're a terrible person. This little boy, you expect him to go all the way to town? He's only 5 years old. Why don't you put him on a donkey? That's what he's there for. So old man goes, okay. Picks up the boy, puts him on a donkey, and they carry on their way. Next thing you know, some more people coming out of town, and they see the old man, the donkey, and the kid on the donkey, and they go, young man, you're a terrible boy. There's this old, frail man, and you're letting him walk whilst you're lounging around the donkey? That's terrible of you. So the little boy gets off, and the old man gets on, and the little boy leads the donkey. Now they are walking past, they're going into town, and people are seeing again, and they're saying, that's a terrible thing. So they decide, okay, let's both get on the donkey. So now they're both riding on the donkey and they're going towards town, and then a bunch of, I guess, happy clappy ecologists come along and say, that's terrible, 2 of you on a donkey, you're going to break his back, you're abusing the donkey. So they both get off and they carry the donkey. So they're carrying the donkey and they go into a little bridge, and they start carrying him across the bridge, they lose their balance, they slip a little bit, the donkey falls off, falls into the river, drowns, gets washed away. The moral of the story is, if you try and please everyone, you may as well kiss your ass goodbye. And this is very true in business, right? So what you're saying is 100% true. You will lose some people. A choice you must make, it's a strategic choice that we cannot make for you, is which clients do you wish to serve first? And once you've automated that whole process, once you're a master of that niche in your area, then you can decide, who do I want to serve next? Now, if you want to serve people who are computer illiterate, the principles we're talking about will still work. The lecture work, the demo, the referral system, all that works. The email campaign will not work. You'll have to do it physically or some other way, but the principle still works. You'll have to adapt it to your environment. Once you get to that point where you start advertising, then you make a choice. Do I want more of those people, so you're advertising in a way they didn't call you or something like that? Or do I want a different niche, people who are computer literate, in which case the strategies we're talking about with the website and the URL and so on will work. It's just a question of making a strategic choice about whom you wish to serve, but only one step at a time. Does that make sense to you? So yes, everyone, please expect yourself to feel the same dilemma at some point. I will tell you this right now, hands down, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not in there, and as soon as I'm in there, I'll have the exact same emotion as you are having. You will have to get rid of clients. You will have to say no to clients, not because if they contact you, you don't accept them, you can accept them. But your advertising will appeal, your advertising, your referral mechanism, all the rest of it, will appeal to a certain type of person, and by default, put off a different kind of person that you could help equally well. And that is exactly why it works. You will be in a position where you will lose clients, and that very same thing that makes you lose clients creates this lodestone, this huge electromagnet that attracts other clients to you. Does that make sense to you guys? The emotions will come up, though, I guarantee it. Right now, we might do a little experiment, if you will. I would like for you to think of 2 people you'd like to serve, 2 people that you would be ideal clients for you, and you really genuinely want to serve both of them. And you can only pay attention to one. You can only look at one person, which means the other one will feel left out and may walk away. And it doesn't feel nice, I realize this. But find some way inside right now to accept that as a fact. Because otherwise, your startup phase will be a nightmare. Because you know what happens when you try and please everyone at the same time, right? Does that make sense to you guys? And this emotion will come up, I guarantee it to you. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of questions here, or can we have the mic from these guys? Jess, and then we'll come over here.
Just to speak to this from experience, I had actually fought niching down for a really long time. And every single one of those terrible ads, I did them all. And I did them extremely well.
Good for you.
It ended up wasting my first year of being in practice. I niched down since November, and the stream of clients coming in has increased significantly. And not only that, I thought that by niching down, I wouldn't get all of these other clients in these other areas I wanted to work in. I found that I didn't necessarily lose them. I still get those people calling, but the number of people who are coming in is much higher now that I've focused down and I've eliminated a lot of different people from my marketing strategies.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Do you pass it over to Cesar there? And by the way, what Jess just said, this is not some pie in the sky that we just made up. This is based on decades of experience, decades of research. This is one of the most basic principles or phenomena in business that exists. It's one of the first things that any business consultant will ever tell you.
And it's completely counterintuitive. We totally understand that.
And you will have to fight your emotions. It'll happen. Just prepare yourself for it, okay? Go ahead.
Excuse me. Again, considering that the purpose of the ad is to build the list and the campaign and the relationship, if they call, what do you sell?
Great. Well, if they call,
Go
they
to the
still
phone
want.
call process we did yesterday.
Yeah, you same phone call process. Now, it depends on what they are calling for. If they're calling for the free report, say, great. Well, I'll need your email address so that I can send it to you.
Great.
They're in the system. If they call for an actual session, you go through the call protocol. No, we don't actually deal with clients. We just want the list. No, exactly. You go through classic call protocol and you sign them up for your actual session, right? Does that help?
Thank you very much.
Just pass me the mic and I'll pass it over there.
Thank you. The first, actually, since you've taught us now, is a fascinating fact. Your story was written by Aesop with the Aesop fables, so it's something like, what, 800 years old?
Say that again, sorry.
Oh, it is.
The donkey story is one of Aesop's fables.
Right.
So I think that's around about 800 years old. I may be wrong, but it's a long-standing piece of advice.
Yeah.
The second was on the contact details. Where I live now in South Africa, there's very little print media for advertising. Everything's going online.
Perfect.
So the idea of being able to actually have a link at the bottom of the...
Even better.
straight
Yep.
into the website.
Makes life so much
instant
easier.
Contact.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's becoming more prevalent in the UK, maybe over here, is on many ads, you see these little black
Oh,
QR
the scanner
codes,
things. Yeah, those are
little
beautiful.
QR codes.
Yeah, yeah,
Call
yeah.
it
Like
computer
that.
barf.
Yeah.
And you can direct those either to a telephone,
Yep.
there's a cell phone,
Or a URL.
or a URL,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
to the contact URL on your website where
Yep.
they go straight in
Yep.
and put the email.
Yeah, beautiful.
In my
Guys,
experience, in the U.S., those aren't as popular, but I know that around the world it's
Right.
becoming much more popular.
So,
And
yeah.
there's a free URL, there's a website where you can create these QR codes for free.
Yep.
You
Okay.
just put in the URL where you want it, and it gives you the artwork to go and clip it
Yep.
into your ad.
So just to kind of go like I said, back from the actual detail again, what we're trying to present to you guys here is the principles, right? The principles of writing a good advert are universal, whether you're doing online or offline, or you're sticking in your local supermarket. They're the exact same principles. Where that AdWord leads to, well, that's a strategic choice you make based on your market research. So if the UK, the QR codes work fantastic, you use that. If in your area they don't work so well, you won't know until you experiment or you do your market research. You'll have to adapt and play with that a little bit. So these are ideas you can grow into. What is most important to us right now is, do you understand the concept? And do you understand the simplest, shall we say, version of executing that concept, which is simply add in the paper with a URL link at the bottom that they can copy and put in their thing. And then you can adapt that version of it to fit your environment, whether it's online or offline, or you put a poster up in your local area that people just snap the QR code for and so on. Does that make sense to you all guys? Yeah? So shall we continue with the masterful presentation on how to get hundreds of thousands of clients for small amounts of investment?
You hope, right?
Results do vary.
Yes. So here's another example ad from your resources. And a lot of these ads that we have combine a lot of these steps into, very few words. And we had the copywriter write these because oftentimes a very popular way of doing these is to put them in, classified ads in the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one's actually one of my favorites. Don't believe you can beat insomnia without taking sleeping pills? Then don't read this free report.
It's beautiful.
Here, right?
At you're never gonna sleep tonight.com.
See? So
For the camera,
comment was
at youneversleeptonight.com.
Yeah. At you're never gonna sleep tonight.com, right? That's the perfect
beautiful.
targeting for your target market, right?
Yeah.
And you won't know if that's going to work until you test it and do your market research. But it is that's awesome. Yes.
The way I got into your DVDs, Igor, was I was Googling around trying to look for new references, and I came across you on a headline which said, Igor Lenachowski scam.
Oh yeah. So he's just saying
yeah.
the way that he got into our list and then it's come here to the seminar and bought all our products is whilst he was online, like looking through all kinds of hypnosis resources, he came across a link which led to a page that basically was labeled Igor Lenachowski scam, and of course the drama of that pulls people in, right? And whoever wrote that page, it wasn't us, it's probably one of the affiliates, was a very clever man, right?
That's a common strategy, and again, this is a more advanced strategy, but if you use words like that generate some interest in like a controversy, right? One of my favorite advertisements, and it's unfortunately not in here, but you guys get it for free, is download this free report that was banned by
X
some
organization.
X organization, other hypnotherapists, or in fact, I think it's the next ad I have. Here we go. Relationship experts won't tell you this. Oh, really? What won't they tell me? You can't heal a broken relationship because you don't know the information in the free online report at fixyourrelationship.com or, 1-800 awesome relationship. That's way too long for a phone number, isn't it? You can dial the numbers if you want, but they won't go anywhere. So, again, there are tons of advanced strategies for this. We want you guys to get the principles of strong headlines, those nice bullets and offers, and a call to action there, right? If you guys
can you see these Can you see these 5 steps, these principles in all these ads we're showing you here? And you have about 30 of these in your resource guide, so you can really study them and come up with your own version of them.
Yeah.
And I do encourage you to come up with your own version. Later on, we'll actually go through a whole copywriting process to make this really easy for you guys. But importantly, you get the principle and you get a sense that, yeah, I could do this with a little bit of thought and a little bit of time. Yes? Someone get that idea?
Yep. Well, good.
Should we take them through the, we've got about 20 minutes, should we take them through the offline and online free and paid places?
Let's do that. So, to your point, I guess you were about maybe 20, 30 minutes ahead into the future there.
Maybe it was the questions that delayed us.
Right? There's lots of different places that you can place an ad. There's places you can pay to place an ad. There's places you don't even have to pay to place an ad. And for the paid ones, I break those down in 2 sections as well. One's where you buy ad placement, and one's where people will sell you ad placement. And all 3 are really great places to advertise. You just need to know, and again, by doing market research, where you're going to be most effective and how to be most effective. You'll have to adapt your message to the people reading or viewing publications or different places. So I want to just call out into the audience and see what ideas you guys might be able to come up with for good stuff for online, offline, free, paid, and see what you guys come up with. So here's our first one. Craigslist is a fantastic resource. Oftentimes, you'll see ads just like this on Craigslist. That relationships experts won't tell you this will be the subject of your little Craigslist advertisement, and the rest of this might be a little bit longer for Craigslist. And again, do your market research. But you can put in that stuff, and people will come and click on your links.
Print newspapers, a lot of times will have a free section if it's under $250 or something.
There you go. So
can you repeat that for the camera?
So the comment was that print newspapers will have often a free section if you're offering services for under $250. Or, this is a $250 report, you get it for free. Wow, I just got free ad placement. Where else do you guys know you can advertise for free or paid? Doesn't matter.
I don't know, in the rest of the world, in South Africa, all gum shop lines are free.
In South Africa?
Gumtree.
Oh,
Gumtree is a website.
All the adverts are free.
So online website Gumtree?
Gumtree is I think it's a Australian networking site for Australians abroad. And so I think they tend to have...
She knows.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the #1 for South Africa. So again, you kind of have the market research in your head, but you know that that's probably a popular place that everybody goes. There's another good one. How about some paid stuff? Anybody got some paid ideas?
What does Spin It have a news reporter do an article on you that you can use it?
Beautiful.
So this is a fantastic way, and we'll probably be talking about that.
Would you repeat that for the camera?
A little bit later. But your comment was that you could have a reporter do a news report or an article on you. That's a really great free way, essentially. You have to spend a little time and build a relationship with that reporter.
Would anyone be interested in finding out how to get free time like that, or on TV and radio and stuff like that? Would that be interesting to you guys? Yeah. Well, you better come back after lunch.
Yep. So this is a great one. Better yet, do some work, do some hypnotherapy, some sort of change process on the reporter and then have them report about their experience. That, I can tell you from personal experience, works hugely well in every market. Yep.
Paul McKenna did it with Ellen DeGeneres on her show.
Paul McKenna did it with Ellen DeGeneres on her show. You're right.
Yeah.
Double or triple his list.
Especially if you can work with a celebrity, that's just like...
Yeah, if you can work with celebrities and stuff, and we'll talk about that when we get to our next segment of how to get on radio and TV. Would that be interesting to you guys? Yes, back there.
You write the article yourself and call it a press release.
Beautiful.
That's another great one. Write the article yourself and release it as a press release.
And the reason that works so well, by the way, guys, is because most journalists are lazy. They don't want to actually have to think of a story and then write it all up. If you've done all the work for them, and all they've got to do is put their name on the bottom, yeah, they'll play around with it a little bit, but it makes their life easy, and it's very attractive to them. Once again, you build a bridge over the river, which makes it more likely that they want to cross, right?
Good. So what else, you guys? What other ideas are coming up? Yeah?
I'd take an ad like that and test it on Google AdWords. Spend 30 quid, test a couple of different headlines, see which generates the most traffic, and then use that as the classified ad.
Yep. You know what's funny is you're right next to a microphone. You could have picked one up. But I'll repeat that for you if you like, or you can repeat it if you like.
Go ahead.
Because you're
I was just saying you can, take the ad and test it on Google AdWords. Set yourself a budget of like $30 or whatever you want to spend. Come up with a couple of different varieties and just test it. You'll immediately see how much traffic is generated. Not only that, people who click on Google AdWords are more likely to be interested in buying something and spending money. So you very quickly get an idea of, which headlines are working for which sector of people. You can get even more complicated and just stick a quick survey page. What were you looking for when you clicked on this ad?
Yep.
I'll give you a free report if you answer my survey. You're immediately getting test data and really useful split testing data there.
And for those of you who are now a little confused and spinning with this sort of stuff, remember, these are more advanced strategies. If you need to keep it simple, just put an ad in a simple place like a paper or a magazine or a local, something like a local newsletter or circular. You can keep it simple, or you can scale it up to very sophisticated. This is a very, very flexible system for advertising.
Yep.
Right?
And underneath all this, you guys starting to see the principles coming out of, oh, I might be able to advertise there or there. And something that I use all the time to think about where I'm going to place my ads is, where do I get information from? Where am I looking for news? And again, this comes from my own sort of market research, but where are my clients getting this information from? Yep.
Do the Lionel Richie type ads work anywhere?
So the question was, do the Lionel Richie ads work anywhere?
For Lionel Richie fans, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
No, we're teasing you.
Tear off
Yeah.
The tear off URLs. I've actually tried that, and it works at colleges and universities. A little bit. Not as much as I had hoped, but again, it's one of those things where you just test out the market and see if it's working. And it costs, a few dollars to print out 100 flyers, and you paper them all over the university. That's, what I did. I just went to a copy shop, printed up a Lionel Richie ad, and, had a little bit more of this information in it rather than just, my picture or something. And I did have a few students call me, but what was most important about that was, once I built the relationship with them and got them in as clients and helped them, at the time I was helping with test anxiety. And I got lucky, and one of the students was the president of a fraternity, and he became a referral partner for me, and I got the rest of the people in that fraternity. It happened to be not a party fraternity, it happened to be more of a
study fraternity.
Academic fraternity. So again, I was lucky there as well. But
then this gives you a clue as to how you can do the whole lecture demo circuit to get referral partners.
Yeah.
Go to colleges, go to the serious fraternities and say, hey guys, I'll come in for half a day or a day and I'll teach you how to beat your exams and overcome all the problems you have in exams. I'll do it for free. Let me come in.
Yep.
And then, of course, you give them a lot of good content and give them some self-hypnosis and so on. The whole fraternity signs up. And then, of course, once you've got a fraternity, you have the next generation until you die, and they'll probably still be sending you clients long after you're dead.
Yep.
Because that's the nature of fraternities, isn't it?
Yep. One of the world's sort of, I guess, most wealthy information marketers started that way. He was a college counselor for people, not an official one, like a student counselor, and worked on like conflict resolution. And he was studying, I guess his sister went through a breakup, a really bad breakup, and he coached her through it he read like 100 different books on relationships, kind of made his own system up, something you guys will be able to do soon, and condensed that information down into something he could use to help her. She was helped by it so much that he was like, oh, this is something that's really good. So he started helping people that were coming in with relationship issues anyway while he was doing some college counseling. And then that turned into the same sort of lucky deal where, well, one you know, it worked well for him more with women than men, but one woman was in a sorority and she saw the value of what he was providing, and then all the sorority sisters wanted this information. So he said, well, you know, I can probably do like a seminar or something. And they're like, oh, well, we have a budget for that. We can pay you like $400 to come and speak. And, you know, for him at the time, he's in college already, a college kid. He's like, that's a lot of beer money. Wow, that's great, you know, for an hour-long talk. And he said the first time he went up there, he like pretty much threw up in the bathroom right before. He was very nervous. And you guys have...
Only because he didn't have our lecture demo process.
Exactly.
You know.
So you guys will have none of those problems. But he...
Had he paid us $200 of those $400, we would have fixed that straight away.
Exactly. So the sorority sisters sat in rapt attention with what he had to say. And he said that was the start of his career as basically doing lecture demos and becoming one of the biggest internet marketers of our time at the moment. And... it all started from just small, simple stuff and just connecting with people. Remember, this is a business of connections. You're creating some stuff, you got some good content, and then you're relating that to people. Right? Creating, relating, creating, relating. Yes?
A lot of these businesses have budgets.
So,
you're saying a lot of these businesses have budgets?
Businesses have budgets and some of them have big budgets.
yep. So the comment was a lot of these businesses have budgets, and businesses proper have sometimes really big budgets, training budgets, things that they can provide that are already set. These are funds that are already set aside. Remember we talked about how sometimes, you know, clients will go through the process of, oh, you know, well, I spend all this money and at the end of the month I don't have anything left. This is already set aside for them to use in their budgets. They're waiting, they're begging for good stuff, for you to come. And this advertisement could be the beginning of a campaign that gets you into a large company, if that's happens to be your niche. Companies are great people. They can just be, I look at companies as just groups of people, right? There might be business-specific things you might want to do with them, and that's great. But they're still just a group of people, and within any number of, you know, a large group, you're going to find people that are interested in your services. So this could be the beginning of a campaign for you that gets you into large businesses all the time, if that's what you want to do. Do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, in terms of what we're talking about here, you see the great scope that advertising could have for you, right? Now, whether your niche is going to be businesses, which of course has its own specialty things you have to research, if it's going to be college kids, it's going to be something completely different, it doesn't matter. The point is, our recommendation is that you do not begin advertising until after you've mastered the lecture demo process and the referral partner process. And there's two reasons for that. Number one, you'll have more cash behind you because when you start advertising, you're going to make mistakes. And if you go for paid advertising, I mean, if you have free advertising, by all means, just throw it out there, see what happens. But if you go for paid advertising, those mistakes can cost a lot, right? So, and I know people who've lost small fortunes and sometimes even large fortunes by jumping at this too soon. The beauty of the way we set this whole thing up is, by the time you come for your lecture demos, where you have direct contact with your audience and see the reaction so you can adjust with each lecture demo. Then you have your referral partners and people are coming to you, and now you can still keep adjusting what, in terms of the stories that people are telling you and so on, and how referral partners are talking to you about what they're experiencing with their people. By the time you get to actually advertising, you will know your audience inside and out. You will know who they are, where they are, what they read, how they read it. Do they like it big? Do they like it small? Do they hate the adverts that are, you know, in your face, or do they love them? And by that time, designing the perfect advert will be a lot easier for you because your instincts, your intuitions about them will be that much stronger. So that's why we designed it this way. Can you start with adverts straight away? Of course you can. Will it cost you some money? It probably will, right? Hence, we stuck it at the end of the process rather than the beginning of it. Does that make sense? Do you guys see where we're going with this? Yeah? Can we have a mic up here?
When we're working with, you know, trying to build relationships with a prince, are we going in with one specific niche?
Yep. Yep.
So they're only going to refer you one, well, typically one type of...
No.
Nope.
It's the same exact mistake that a few of you, Arthur asked the same question, and the same kind of question that was asked at the back here earlier on. Just because you present yourself with one niche or one niche does not mean that you'll only get clients from one niche or one niche. What they will typically do then is say, by the way, I have a bunch of people with this problem. Can you deal with that too?
Okay.
And your answer is, of course I can.
Okay.
Right? So the fact that you are creating these constraints around your advertising or your promotion and so on, your campaigns, does not mean that you will not get other stuff too. Very often, and let's put it this way, my niche when I was doing hypnotherapy was stop smoking. What I ended up doing a lot of stuff with was phobia cures and anxieties and a few compulsions like, you know, a little bit of drinking or cocaine and stuff like that. Not a huge amount of that. But what typically would happen is either they themselves would call back and say, by the way, thanks for the session, it was great, and can you deal with this as well, right? Or someone else would call and say, you helped my friend so-and-so stop smoking, can you deal with this as well? So you will not be cutting out, you might lose a few of those other people, but you're better off giving very clear message and accepting the extra stuff that comes along than to try and do everything again, because that goes right back to the shopping list thing. And if you confuse your referral partner with your shopping list, then you will get no referrals. Guaranteed. No matter how much they like you and how much they promise you stuff, if they're confused about what you can do, they can't send anyone to you because who do they know to refer you to?
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense now.
Does that help everyone? Thanks.
Going back to the school thing, the colleges, another great networking place would be alumni associations.
Yep.
Because they're there to network and share the wealth, and for some reason, some of those people are just so hardcore about their school, they would rather have a relationship with someone they don't know that went to the school than someone who's just off the street.
Agreed.
And they will refer you out like crazy, and it's just constant networking.
Yep. And any sort of member associations that you're a member of, chambers of commerce, that kind of stuff.
Or business networking,
You know,
networking
business
groups,
networking
they're
stuff.
phenomenal places.
Just because you're affiliated with something like that, people have a higher affinity with you. They're like, you're part of their group, right? And who doesn't want to refer to people they know and like?
So you guys get the idea of the whole advertising concept, yes? Have we put it into perspective for you guys? Do you understand that there are many adverts that you can have absolutely free of charge? There's no, you don't have to pay anything for it. If you get clever about it, you can do it in the form of an article that makes it easier for other people. Sometimes friends will do you favors. Printers who run lists, for example, online or newspapers, may give it to you for free because they like you. We had one recently. I was just interviewed on a radio show, which I think it's America Online, which has apparently a couple of million listeners. And that's because the interviewer liked me and because his boss loved me, right? So it's like, okay, I didn't know that, but thank you very much. So these things will constantly happen. There'll be free opportunities, and there'll be paid opportunities, and it's worth doing those paid opportunities. However, our strong recommendation is work the system as it's laid out. It's designed to make it a smoother progression, as easy as possible for you guys, so that your mistakes are made when they're inexpensive, and then by the time they become more expensive, your ability to contain the risk has increased. Do you understand what I mean by that, yeah? Oh, one last question over here, and then we'll call it a break.
So I just had a question about, you mentioned radio shows.
Mm-hmm.
How about like blog talk radio shows, those different types of things?
Sure, absolutely. You can, everything works exactly the same way. You know, the internet radios, depending on who's running them, can be more informal or more formal. But we'll talk more about those sort of things when we get to the actual segment on TV and radio. Is that okay?
Okay, yes, thank you.
Do you want to pass it to Amir?
So I'm currently running ads in direct response. Would it be better, or like, would it be better to start building for campaign listing, building a direct campaign first, rather than the direct response?
I would personally strongly advise that, because the most important thing in your business is your list.
Yeah.
What happens is, if you go, think of it this way. If you go for an instant kill, instant shot, buy this now, some people will buy, some people won't. There'll be a great amount of people say, I'm not ready to buy yet, I'll move on. You'll get some people, and they'll be great customers, but you'll lose a lot more people that could be on your list. If you start with, get this free report, and then go through relationship building, a lot more people will ultimately become buyers as a process of that relationship, because you've warmed them up, exactly. So my recommendation, and I'm sure you'll agree here, is start everything that you're doing straight into, plug it all into a campaign. That's always my first idea, which is how can I get them into a campaign, onto a list, so we can start running campaign after campaign after campaign. Now, if they're sitting there clutching a fistful of dollars saying, please take my money, well, it would be very rude not to.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But my default is kind of like everything we talk about niches. My default is to niche. My default is to create a list. And then if exemptions come, like, can you do this also? Of course I can. Can I give you some money straight away? Of course you can, right? Makes life easy.
Yeah.
Right.
And actually, you two are actually the proper people to talk about this. Remember Johnny 1 and Johnny 2 yesterday, right?
Right.
You can choose a long-term strategy, you can choose a short-term strategy,
Right.
or you can do both.
Yes.
Right?
You can put
If
some
it's
adverts for
working
quick
you,
sales.
if what you're doing is working for you right now, maybe you want to add additionally the long-term strategy of building your list. In the long term, your list is going to be worth everything to your business.
Right.
Whereas in the short term, if you need some cash right now, you want to get some clients in, maybe get some practice. For those of you that don't have a lot of experience yet, go with a direct response and get some people and start packing them in if you can. But again, test. See what's going to be most beneficial for the relationship long term is what I always go toward default. But hey, you know, if I'm in a new market and I need some cash right away, direct response is, remember I said none of those strategies are invalid. They just work at different levels and at different times.
Okay, so when we're building a relationship with them with direct campaign, we're looking to give them free reports, maybe some audio, that kind of stuff. I mean,
It's exactly what we talked about yesterday. Where was it? Was it this? Close, but not quite. Close. Was it this, perhaps? No, I don't think so. This is definitely valuable, wasn't it? Yeah. This was kind of fun, wasn't it? But it's not this I'm referring to, of course. Do you think I'm referring to this?
Yes.
I agree with you.
So the value is, you know, giving them the audio and all of that.
Right.
Are you
So
gonna
so
walk
here
us
we
through-
have. It's exactly what we talked about. What we were talking about. Free gift. You know, as a report said, you won't heal your relationship unless you have the information. This free report. Email 1. Here's a free report. I hope it. You know. I hope it helps as much as it has helped hundreds of other people. Reminder. Just a reminder. I sent you the link for the free report. In case you haven't downloaded it, here's the link again. Please read it because here is because you'll find on page 34 the one thing you need to do right now to stop burning your relationship. Next one might be, you know, a quick follow-up. I hope you've read the report and enjoyed it right now and your relationship's starting to get better. Something I've just come across, which is not in the report, is tip X. I really hope it helps you too, right? So you're slowly building on that in exactly the same way as though you've done a lecture demo. It does not matter what stream someone comes into you from. You build relationships in exactly the same way. The only difference might be that people coming in from an advert, because there's less of a personal contact, may need a longer campaign to build more solid a foundation with you before they're ready to buy. That's something you have to test. That's something we can't give you up front. Does that help?
Yes. And the products or the gifts and all of that, are you going to walk us through an
Tomorrow.
actual process?
Tomorrow, yes.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Good stuff. So it appears that we've learned a lot of things today, doesn't it? And we've only started the morning. Wow. At some point, you might decide that it's useful to stop the spinning in your head by closing your eyes.
And some of you have already done that now.
Because
You're welcome.
Because to the extent that you can just sit there and drift for a moment and let all this settle inside, it really doesn't take very long for you to realize that everything you've learned can recede to the back of your mind and allow it to be processed over a simple break time. So in a moment, I'm going to just be silent and let you sit there silently for as long as you need to allow your mind to calm down, so that when you open your eyes, you just go straight into your break, 15 minutes. But please, don't open your eyes until you know you're ready.
That's right.
And we'll see you after the break.